Hello and welcome to another video. So as I mentioned in the previous video, there were all the Satan reveals. They've now had all their official translation revealed about an hour after making that previous video, so I kind of missed out just slightly, but this really did need its own video as there is a lot of token cards to cover, which is why this is going to be exclusively the Prince of Cocytus reveal as far as that goes. So of course Prince of Cocytus is Satan, for anyone who doesn't know, Prince of Darkness. And it's a pretty straightforward reprint as far as most things go, but they've basically just changed out the Apocalypse deck for the Cocytus deck, which is a whole new set of tokens added in with, of course, one Astaroth's Reckoning, which you'll see in a second. It is a 9-drop 7/7 legendary. Excel 3, randomly put 4 different Cocytus cards into your deck, which is actually pretty crazy. The Excel 3 I think is going to be played more often than the actual follower. And then the fanfare is replace your deck with our Cocytus deck. So replacing your entire deck with it is fairly cool. I'm not sure how they're going to do it as far as number of cards in the deck, as I don't think we have that information yet. But as far as things go, we could at least see 1 of each card minimum, maybe even 2 of each card, pretty standard. So the first one, of course, Astaroth's Reckoning. We all have seen this card before if you've seen Prince of Darkness played at all. This is actually one of the only cards they've kind of duplicated into it. So Astaroth's Reckoning is the deal damage to enemy leader until their defense drops to 1, and it does cost 10, so basically your entire turn to play it. Then, of course, Demon of Purgatory. So now we get into the new token cards. This is where things get a little more interesting. So this is a 6-drop 9/6 token, and it is fanfare. Give the enemy leader the following effect at the start of your next turn. Discard a random card from your hand. So giving your opponent the discard a random card from the hand effect, added with the fact this thing is massive as far as a body goes for a cheap cost, which is what most of these kind of Cocytus cards are like. It is going to be fairly interesting. The deck kind of has a card for every kind of situation, and this one isn't exactly bad. Then we have Scion of Despair, a 4-drop 5/5 legendary. So that's, of course, all tokens are legendary for this. At the end of your turn, destroy a random enemy follower. Restore X defense to your leader. X equals the follower's attack. So I actually quite like this one at the end of turn, of course, being a really nice way for a keyword like this one to work. And destroying a random enemy follower is just extreme advantage, with, of course, restoring defense equal to its attack is even better. Then we have a Gluttonous Behemoth. So a 7-drop 7/7. It is at the end of your turn, deal 7 damage to the enemy leader. Not a surprise, I mean dealing 7 damage to the enemy leader is great, and of course the Evo actually ups it by 2, so matching its attack basically all the way through. At the end of your turn, deal 9 damage to the enemy leader is pretty nuts on a body. We used to have another card that dealt 7 and then healed for 7. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but it was also another Satan card. And this one is basically that without the heal, but given a body instead, and that's not a bad thing. Then we have Scorpion of Greed, a 6-drop 7/6, Storm, Bane, Drain. That's what makes this card absolutely nuts. I think this is probably one of the better cards out of all of them. The 6-drop 7/6 stat line is good on its own, but give it Storm and Bane, gives it that little bit of extra edge, and then Drain on top of that. Meaning it can basically kill anything, it can heal for 7, which is pretty insane, and it can go face for 7 immediately, which is just nuts. It basically is a better version of what we mentioned before, with the 7 attack to face or to a follower and then heal 7. This card will do that, and also kill basically anything you want. Then we have Wrathful Icefiend, a 2-drop 4/4 fanfare, recover 2 evolution points. So this one is a little more unique compared to the others as far as it goes. We never had a Satan card that recovered evolution points like this, and this one actually gives it some decent playability. I mean, we can easily play Scorpion of Greed and Wrathful Icefiend together and create an absolutely monstrosity of a card for 9 damage and 9 heal very easily. Then we have Heretical Hellbeast, an 8-drop 8/8. It is Ward, fanfare, X damage, deal X damage to your leader, X equals the number of other followers in play, then destroy all other followers. So at most you're dealing 5 damage to yourself to then eliminate your opponent's entire board. Of course it is all other followers, so of course you can't have any on board, but assuming you're playing a Satan deck, you're probably playing one of these cards a turn sort of thing, or you're playing this card first, then playing something to go along with it. So you're probably not going to have that many other followers on board to begin with. So most likely you're going to limit it to dealing 5 at most to yourself to whiteboards. And it has an 8/8 body, which is really nice, along with the ward to block out any future plays. Then we have a Vicious Commander, so a 3-drop of 4/4 fanfare, deal 4 damage to an enemy follower. Evolve, deal 6 damage to an enemy follower. This one I'm not as big a fan of. It is nice because it is cheap and it has decent stats, but it is just follower targeted, and that's not that great, honestly. But it does combo well, I guess, with the other cards. You could potentially play 2 of these very easily, and if you build a deck in Unlimited using this kind of card, you could really create some pretty nuts plays in Dragon, maybe even in Rune, for the amount of draw power that you have options to. Then we have Flamelord of Deceit, a 5-drop of 5/5 Storm fanfare, banish all enemy amulets. This card right here is not bad at all. Banishing all amulets could be quite detrimental. Being a banish, of course, is pretty insane on its own, but having the potential to just banish everything amulet-wise and then Storm Face is really quite nice. Infernal Gaze, the first spell that we're going to look at here, outside of course Astaroth's Reckoning, which we all do know of, is a 1-drop Infernal Gaze. So it is, until the start of your next turn, add 10 to the original cost of spells in your opponent's hand. Only affects cards in hand at the time this effect is activated, and then it's draw a card. This card would completely brick Mysteria. It completely bricks, well, not completely bricks Mysteria, but basically bricks Mysteria in every sense of the word. It can brick out pretty much any deck that requires any kind of decent spells. I mean, it's just nuts, honestly. Infernal Gaze will easily buy you a turn most of the time, and drawing a card is reasonably good for 1, so definitely worthwhile. Then we have Infernal Surge, another 1-drop. It is just a straight up draw 3 cards, which is awesome. If you can top deck Infernal Surge as one of the first cards you get from the deck, the Cocytus deck, you're in the money. You're only going to have advantage from there. There is only Astaroth's Reckoning that is a 10 cost that you wouldn't be able to play. Everything else could be playable pretty much immediately, which is awesome. Then we have Heavenfall, the 2-drop, banish an enemy follower or amulet, draw a card. So this one is actually really good as well. So banishing enemy follower or amulet and drawing another card basically means you're recycling really effectively. All the spells seem to do that really well, and this one is definitely no laughing matter, as being able to banish enemy follower or amulet for 2 is going to be good. Of course, you've got to remember these are all Cocytus card decks, which means turn 9 is almost a dead turn with this deck, so Dragon's going to take advantage of it the most. But outside of that, I think it's definitely still got some potential if you do end up in a more control-y type meta. So if we do end up leaning more towards that, which with the cards we've seen so far seems to be the route this expansion is taking, Cocytus could be put in pretty much everything as at least a 1-of. Then we have Earthfall, a 4-drop spell. Destroy all non-neutral followers. So this one's a little more random as far as that goes. It's destroy all non-neutral followers, so as long as there's nothing neutral on board, you're fine. I mean, you can kill everything. If there is neutrals on board, it doesn't really have much of an effect, and it's not as good. But as far as things go, most people are running craft-specific followers because they usually have better stats and better effects, with a few neutrals thrown in usually for draw power or tech choices, so this card should do fairly decently overall. And that is all of the Cocytus cards, so definitely an insane amount of token cards to be revealed with Prince of Cocytus, and it does not surprise me at all, or Cocytus, I'm not sure how you want to pronounce that. I usually say Cocytus, but I think Cocytus might be the correct pronunciation. Sorry if I trigger anyone with that, but honestly, I'm looking forward to this card. A lot of people have both been happy and sad about this card. Some people think it's, you know, pretty much an auto-include and everything, and they aren't happy with that. Others think it's a nice bit of variety compared to a lot of the legendaries we have seen, and I tend to be somewhere in the middle. I think if this card is played in every single deck, it'll probably see a nerf because it's going to be too much of a staple. Provided, of course, that means all those decks are doing well. If it doesn't, then, of course, it'll probably be cut from a lot of lists anyway, and you won't see it as often. But as a 9-drop 7/7 replace your deck, it's fairly decent. I think the Excel 3 is where this deck card is really going to shine. Running 3 of this, just for the Excel 3 alone, could be extremely good. It does mean you are wasting 3 play points, but as we mentioned, Dragon in particular could take heavy advantage of this card, accelerate on the 3 cost, and just absolutely stomp with whatever else they ramp with. So pretty insane. Definitely looking forward to it. We don't have too many more cards left, As far as official reveals go, I'm not sure how many we've got left, but as far as all reveals go, from what I've currently looked at to be completely up to date myself before doing these videos for you guys, we only have like somewhere between 7 and 10 cards left or something really small amount number, so shouldn't be long until we have all the cards revealed. We may do a whole look at all the cards, we may not. It's just going to depend on time with Christmas and everything going on. It makes it hard to do one of those kind of videos, but we'll see how we go. So, hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, hit that like button and subscribe for more content. Until next time, see ya.